Call of Duty is a game full of weapons, some at launch, some at DLC, but what about the guns that never made it in? What about the guns that were supposed to be in a Call of Duty game, but they got pulled out during development for one reason or another? Welcome to the channel, everybody. Chaos here, and today on today's COD history list, we're going to look at 10 weapons from throughout the franchise that were supposed to be in Call of Duty, but they got cut before they were finished, leaving nothing but little hints behind in the game code. So you let me know in the comments which of these you think should have made it in the game. Drop a like, and at number 10, the M4A1 in Ghosts. It's pretty common knowledge at this point that COD Ghosts started development as Modern Warfare 4, but at some point early on, Infinity Ward made the decision to spin the project off into a new subseries. But since Ghosts started as a Modern Warfare game, there's actually quite a few Modern Warfare guns that were originally on the list, and some of them are even playable to this day if you know how to edit game files. For example, the M4A1 rifle is completely finished and hidden in the game files of the Ghost campaign, and there's even a silenced version completely finished as well. If you know how to edit game files, which I don't, and you load into the campaign mission The Hunted, you can actually spawn in with the M4A1, which is pretty cool. Now, obviously, the M4 didn't appear in the final build of the game, but it's insane to see Ghosts running with Modern Warfare guns, and speaking of which, segue into number 9, the AK-47 in COD Ghosts. This is a similar situation, where the AK-47 was originally going to be in Ghosts, back when it was still Modern Warfare 4, but at some point during development, Infinity Ward decided to cut it from the project. However, they actually completely finished the gun before the decision was made. Much like the M4A1, there's actually a way to load into Ghost campaign with a fully finished AK-47. Again, you load into the campaign mission The Hunted, and yes, it has to be this mission specifically, and look up a tutorial on how to edit game files in the PC version, and you'll be able to play with the AK-47 in Ghosts. Why you want to, I don't know, but it's there. A COD game that never actually had an AK in the final build. I'm sure I'm not the only one who wishes there was some kind of documentary about the development of COD Ghosts, because there's so much evidence that it was originally going to be Modern Warfare 4, including a leaked menu screen from a few years ago, and like I mentioned, a bunch of completely programmed Modern Warfare guns that you're not allowed to use in the final build. I'm curious what actually happened there. At number 8, and before we get into it, guys, if you get anything from G2A.com, use code CHAOS. Link is in the description. Get yourself some cash back. At number 8 today, the ACR in Infinite Warfare. Now, the ACR is a fan-favorite assault rifle that debuted in the original Modern Warfare 2, then was brought back as the ACR 6.8 Modern Warfare 3. It was almost unanimously considered to be the best gun in the game. Well, it seems that at one point during development, Infinity Ward was planning on bringing the ACR into Infinite Warfare, likely as part of the classic weapon category. For those who never played IW, maybe you forgot, there was an entire category of weapons in Infinite Warfare dedicated to throwback guns. The Intervention, the UMP-45, the SPAS-12, and more. There were still some leftover lines of code in the Infinite Warfare game files that suggest the ACR was originally going to be part of that classic category, but it never finished. And I'm honestly kind of confused about this one, because you know what classic weapon was in the game? The ARX-160 from Ghosts. I don't know about you guys, but I don't really think the Ghost version of the ARX-160 is what most COD players would consider classic, but apparently in IW, well, they disagree because they prioritize that gun over the ACR. I'll never understand that one. At number 7, this is actually the gun on the thumbnail of this video. The Rhino in Advanced Warfare. Very interesting. According to some leftover assets in the Advanced Warfare game files, the Rhino was a semi-automatic revolver that had multiple attachments, even had a HUD icon that reveals it would have been pretty short. I mean, think the snub-nosed revolver from the original Black Ops. However, it never made it to the final version of the game, and Sledgehammer has never explained where it actually would have been, where it went. Advanced Warfare did a revolver in the form of the M1 Irons, but that thing was pretty obviously different from the Rhino. So you tell me in the comments what you think the Rhino would have been if it was finished. Again, snub-nosed semi-automatic revolver would have been supported by quite a few attachments, although we don't exactly know what they would have been. I don't know. At number 6, the FFAR in Black Ops 4. This is confusing, so stick with me. So, the FAMAS is a fan-favorite gun. It appeared in the original Black Ops. It was brought back in Black Ops 3 as a futuristic version called the FFAR. However, Black Ops 4 was going to have a new version of the FFAR that was actually going to be a 4-round burst, and apparently it was pretty far into development because it appeared in some leaked pre-alpha footage from 2017, just 1 year before the game came out. Once Black Ops 4 launched, the FFAR was nowhere to be found. It was never added post-launch as DLC either, so I don't know what happened. It was apparently a pretty central part of the early builds of the game, but by the time Black Ops 4 was ready for launch, Treyarch had completely erased it from the game, and they never looked back. I mean, still, a 4-round burst FAMAS sounds pretty wild to me. Would the community have liked it, or was the pre-alpha version of the gun just meant to be a placeholder for something else? We'll never know. The development of Black Ops 4 is a huge mystery, so we may never get a solid answer. We need Call of Duty Ghosts and Black Ops 4 Netflix documentary behind the scenes. Now we crack into the top 5. The AK-74U in Modern Warfare 3 2011. This one is awesome. It appeared in COD 4's multiplayer. It was made a fan favorite in the original Black Ops. It even showed up briefly in the Modern Warfare 3 campaign, but originally, it was going to be in MW3's multiplayer. Infinity Ward and Sledgehammer have never really explained why the AK-74U was in the campaign but not the multiplayer, but if you've been playing Modern Warfare 3 through the Plutonium project on PC, you've probably got to use it. The multiplayer version of the 74U is almost entirely finished in the game files, complete with attachments, proficiencies, camos, everything. So when the Plutonium team was making the Modern Warfare 3 multiplayer mod, they decided to just finish up Infinity Ward's work. Put the AK-74U back in the game for everyone to use, and let me tell you, it's absolutely ridiculous. So now you know the 74U was originally going to be in Modern Warfare 3's multiplayer, but seemingly cut last minute. But if you really want to use the classic SMG in that game, Plutonium on PC. At number 4, the NS2000 in Black Ops 2. You're like, what? Black Ops 2 had some of the most iconic weapons in COD history, but what if I told you guys there was a cut shotgun called the NS2000 that actually would have been a shotgun with explosive rounds? I'm serious. There is evidence in Black Ops 2's game files proving at one point during development an explosive shotgun called the NS2000 was being worked on but never finished. Treyarch obviously never added to the game, or any other game for that matter, as DLC. So, would it have just been in the campaign? I mean, there's no way Treyarch would put in an explosive shotgun in multiplayer back then, right? Maybe it was going to be for zombies. An explosive shotgun probably would have fit right in with Transit, but then again, maybe it was too much of a technical demand for a 2012 Call of Duty engine to handle. A few pieces of code for the NS2000 still remain in Black Ops 2, and it's enough for us to know it was intended to be there. I'm just super curious what they were cooking up here. At number 3, the Riot Shield in Infinite Warfare. Everybody loves the Riot Shield, right? This fan favorite tool first appeared in the original Modern Warfare 2, returned in tons of other Call of Duty games with various buffs and nerfs, but originally, the Riot Shield was going to show up in IW as well. It would have made it the only jetpack era Call of Duty game with a Riot Shield in the Create a Class menu. Advanced Warfare had a Ballistic Shield as a temporary upgrade, and Infinite Warfare had the shield charge ability for one of the specialists, but at one point during development, Infinity Ward was actually going to put the Riot Shield in a Create a Class system just like in the classic Modern Warfare games. In fact, there's still evidence of the Riot Shield left behind in the game file, specifically with a line of code that reads IW7_ Riot Shield. But obviously, it was never finished, so tell me, do you think Infinite Warfare would have been better if it had a Riot Shield? Do you think the jetpack Call of Duty games would have been improved if you could have a shield? Or do you think it would have just made the game even more annoying because people would have been able to bunny hop and wall run while blocking all incoming damage? I want to hear your opinion on this one. At number 2 today, the AUG H-Bar in Modern Warfare 3 2011. Now, the AUG H-Bar was one of the most underrated guns in the original Modern Warfare 2, if you ask me. It's gone through a lot of makeovers the last couple decades. I mean, can you think of any other gun in COD history that has been an LMG, an assault rifle, a tactical rifle, and an SMG? The H-Bar was in the it was the original Call of Duty AUG, and it was the only one to be in the LMG category. All things considered, it was good. It was extremely consistent, although it had a tad bit of weight to it, so it would slow you down if you weren't using lightweight. But originally, Infinity Ward and Sledgehammer were planning on bringing the AUG H-Bar to Modern Warfare 3 as well, which I think would have been a good decision. We know Modern Warfare 3 had amazing guns, but I've always thought the LMGs were a tad underwhelming. This would have spiced it up. Unfortunately, it wasn't finished in time, and now we have a handful of unfinished assets hidden away in Modern Warfare 3's game files, but there's one more cut Modern Warfare 3 gun that I'm actually the most disappointed over ever. At number 1 today, of guns that got cut in development that you never got a chance to use, is the Vector in Modern Warfare 3 2011. I've always loved this gun. It's an awesome gun. It's been pretty consistent throughout the years. It shoots fast. It doesn't hit very hard, but it's accurate. It's smooth. It always feels right for aggressive playstyles. The Vector made its COD debut in the original Modern Warfare 2. Now, it wasn't a top-tier weapon, but it had a loyal following. Naturally, it was going to be brought back in Modern Warfare 3. It even appears in some of the earliest trailers of Modern Warfare 3, so it seemingly made it pretty far into development. However, the Vector never made it into the final build of the game. And if you go digging into the game files, there's actually a ton of evidence that it was being worked on. It's got unfinished textures, even an icon that would be in the Create a Class menu. So why was it cut? We'll probably never know. But with how many SMGs launched with Modern Warfare 3, my guess is that Infinity Ward and Sledgehammer were just feeling like there was already enough weapons to go around. But personally, I would have loved to see the Vector in the game. Running around with this gun on Dome and Hard Hat, and well, not me dropping Moabs, but you guys that were good, that would have been an awesome feeling. There you have it, my friends. Let me know one gun that is not in Call of Duty that you would like to see in a future Call of Duty. That's actually a hard question now because there's so many guns that have been put in. Thank you for all the love, guys, as we work our way to 3 million subscribers. Make sure you turn on those notifications, and I'll see you soon.